Ready? Here's how I accidentally tricked half the internet. It started with a simple idea. I wanted to use visual effects to turn boiling water into ice. Dylan helped me film the original clip, making sure the ground was in it the whole time so I could get a good track. Then I brought the clip into After Effects and tracked the camera movement using the 3D camera tracker. I wanted to hide the water that was clearly pouring onto the ground, so I created a mask around that area, subtracted it from the footage, and used content-aware fill to have the software automatically fill that spot back in. The result wasn't quite perfect, especially around the edges, but I figured who cares? It's not like 200 million people are gonna see it, right? Next up, the ice. I went into Blender, brought in the camera tracking information, and used the original footage as a reference to model a 2B spiral thing, that is the official term, yes, so that it would follow the shape of the water as I poured it. Then I created the ice texture, exported it, and brought that back into After Effects. I blended the ice in with the original footage, used content-aware fill again to hide some more of the falling water, and voila! That's how you start mass fights on the internet. This is how cold it is in Canada. Okay, let's go. Last minute gift. Oh, perfect. Nice. Oh no! Watch this.
Put me down. Ha, didn't work. Wait.
I wish I didn't have to leave Rome. No, that's not what I meant! Okay, I'm gonna try this. Guess didn't work. I'm just gonna swap these out. Ready? Into a present. First, I filmed the original clip of me jumping. Then I threw the present around a whole bunch, apologies to my downstairs neighbor, until I got it to land facing the camera. Next, I brought those two clips into After Effects. I went to the spot in the original video where I wanted the transition to start, about midway through the jump turn. I knew I needed the main focal points to match up exactly, which were the ribbon and, more importantly, the bow. I created the transition from my outfit to the present by stretching the present to match my body, then returning it to its original dimensions by the time that it hit the ground. I also used masks to have the present start out the same shape as my body before slowly filling out to the full rectangle. Then I masked out my upper body so I could move it down to disappear down into the box. And the final detail, the bow. I masked out the bow as it fell off my head and moved it to land just after my head disappeared into the present. I present to you the final result. Here's how you can turn yourself into any object. I'm going to use the CeraVe moisturizer as an example. First, you want to dress in the same colors as your object. Since this one's mostly white, I'll dress in white from head to toe. Next, for the transition to work, you and the object need to be relatively the same size on screen. If you're different sizes in real life, you can play around with camera perspective to make them match. So objects closer to the camera are going to appear bigger than they are, and things farther away will appear smaller. See how our sizes are now relatively the same? Also, try not to let your partner steal your object when their hands get dry.
Winter in Canada.
Now here's the real secret sauce of morphing. If I just fade from the shot of me to the CeraVe moisturizer, it's not going to look very convincing. The best way to hide a cut from you to the object is by adding movement. This means jump, roll, spin, flip, anything you want to add motion into the transition. After that, it just takes some minor editing to merge the two clips to your liking, and there you go. Now you've got a super smooth transition. And smooth skin. Here's how I turned myself into a statue. First, I filmed myself at the Trevi Fountain in front of dozens of strangers. I also made sure to get several seconds of the empty background. As a side note, the sound quality from my phone was really bad, but we'll fix that later. First, for the editing, I needed a statuified version of myself in the ending position. I used an image-to-image AI generator to get a few good options, although none of them were quite perfect, especially around the face. Then I brought it into Photoshop and made a few adjustments until it looked a little more like me. Unfortunately, I still couldn't get the face quite right, so I decided that was a future me problem and started editing anyway. In After Effects, I rotoscoped myself out of the video. This way I could easily make myself disappear as the statue version took my place. I placed these over the empty background, adjusted the sizing and position of the statue, and then pretty much all that was left was the head. I blended in the original footage by turning down saturation, adding grain, and using a few spots of the AI statue. And before you ask why I didn't just do that for the whole body, look at the details the AI version added that made it more realistic overall. After that, I redid the sound, added some color correction, and voila! What a marvelous result. I wish I didn't have to leave Rome. What? No, that's not what I meant! This walk through the seasons video was actually really easy to make, and I'm partnering with Adobe to show you how. First, I filmed a video of me walking and reacting to the environment. I exported PNGs of various moments throughout the clip and brought them all into Photoshop. I used the generative fill tool on each PNG to create a bunch of images to fill in the scenery. I started with a more wintry theme at the beginning, and then went into some spring and summer, and of course ended with fall and Halloween decor. Now to add all this onto the video, I went into After Effects and I used the tracker tool to track the motion of various spots on the floor and wall as I was walking. I brought in the PNGs from Photoshop and masked out all of the parts with generated images. Then I parented each one to a tracker from the same part of the video so that the images would move as the camera did. And after some minor tweaking, here's the full result.